Hi everyone, this is Brad from BoardGameGeek.com. I'm here with Jeremy from Handelabra Games, who is working with Greater Than Games to bring Sentinels of the Multiverse to iOS and possibly other platforms. Could you tell us about how you met the guys at Greater Than Games and how your relationship got started?
Sure. So in August of 2011, we were at PAX Prime showing off a game we were working on called Uncle Slam. It was a President boxing game for iOS. It ended up not doing great, but we happened to be exhibiting right next door to Greater Than Games. So we met Christopher and Adam and Paul on the first day while we were all doing our setup, and they showed us Sentinels of the Multiverse. And we played it through a couple times and just loved it. And we immediately asked them, when we're done with Uncle Slam, we would love for this to be our next project. And they were like, well, that might be tricky. But the long and the short of it is that, a year and a half later, everything was in place that it made perfect sense for that to be what was going to happen. And they called us up this January and they said, hey, the rights are free, we're ready to go. If you want to do this as a project, we are ready to start discussing that. And so we finally sat down with them at PAX East this past year and hashed out all of the legal and difficult parts of the contracts and all that other kind of stuff. And now it's official. We are going to be building for both iOS and Android is the initial release that we're aiming for. And we're aiming for that to be in the spring of 2014.
Great, and I know you've already done an app with them, the Helper app for Sentinels of the Multiverse.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Sure. So Sentinel Sidekick just actually released version 2.0 this past, first day of Gen Con this past Thursday. And basically what it is a hit point tracking and effects tracking app to use during the game. So a lot of these games have a certain amount of bookkeeping involved while you're playing them. Sentinels is no different. You have to keep track of hit points with little, cardboard trackers and little numbers and all the rest of it. Some people use dice, some people use pen and paper. And so what Sidekick does is it basically allows all of that to be handled in one central location on an app that you just sort of put your device right in the middle of the table and you can do all your hit points and everything. The version 2, aside from becoming an officially licensed product, which now includes all the beautiful art right from the game, it also added the ability to do things like flipping villain cards over and tracking the effects automatically, as well as we have a new version that's probably going to be out in about a week. We didn't have time to get it out for Gen Con, but it'll be out in about a week. That's going to add full effect tracking, which means you can start putting your 1 damage taken, your -1 damage dealt. All of those things will be able to be handled right by the app.
Very cool. What was it about Sentinels of the Multiverse that attracted your company to want to work with them?
For me, I can't speak for my partner John. He is a much bigger board gamer than I. I've only played, I played sort of the standard ones, the Carcassonnes, the Catans, Ticket to Ride. I was never so into a lot of the real role-playing or high fantasy or any of those sorts of things. But for me, when I played it, the first thing that jumped out at me was the cooperative nature of the game. I never played Magic. I never played any of these other games where you're sort of fighting against people. But the idea that all 4 of the people or 5 of the people at the table were working together to defeat the villain really felt new and fresh and different to me. In fact, it's going to be one of our biggest challenges bringing the game over to digital is how do we preserve that sense of camaraderie of working together if people are not in the same room at the same time. And so we consider that to be our biggest challenge for the digital version, but that is really what it was for me.
Great. Thank you very much. We look forward to the game. It seems like it's going to be really awesome, and it seems like you guys have a great track record, so we'll look forward to seeing the full version early next year.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.